don't know how deep your hole is. But what I do know is if I give you a shovel and show you how to use it, you can get out of that hole.
Guys, good morning. Thanks for coming on. We have a brother that we invited to just be, part of our call this morning. And Donovan runs a ministry, 30 Mighty Men Ministries, and also, it's embedded in that is a program called Clean. I'll give him the opportunity to speak to that. But as you all know, we've been gathering together over the last month or two just to sort of, know what it looks like to depend on God in prayer to be the men that God has called us to be, and just to follow Christ in every area of our lives. And so that's the purpose of this call and the reason why I've been doing this. I think that Donovan Ministries aligned in this regard, and so I'll just give him a moment to just sort of speak to what he does, and then we'll see how in the future perhaps maybe we can, if anyone's interested, can kind of be a part of that. So Donovan, over to you. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you, Dario. I appreciate you. So I have a nonprofit called 30 Mighty Men Ministries. I'm also a minister at Zion Church here in the Greenbelt area of Maryland, under Keith Battle. And I launched this group 3 years ago. I started this group, and I call it Clean Now, but the full name is Clean: The Tools to Achieve Sexual Integrity for the Christian Man. And it really is. It's based on my journey. When I was maybe like 10 years ago, I've been married for 10 years now. I was still in school. I didn't have a job. I was like a year in, or maybe 6 months into my marriage. I had twin girls, and I remember just praying. I remember seeking God, and there was a scripture that came to me. It was 1 Peter 3:7, and 1 Peter 3:7 essentially says to honor your wife, and if you don't honor her, that your prayers will be hindered. And I never thought about my marriage being a bad one. I thought it was one that everybody had. You know what I mean? Like something where, like, in retrospect, looking back, it was a 50-50 shot that we would have made it. You know what I mean? Like, because of how life goes. And Christ wasn't fully in my marriage at that time. But that prayer started me on a journey. And the first thing that God led me to was, okay, I was still into pornography at that time, masturbation at that time. I was still in my marriage, so I never cheated on my wife or anything like that. But I knew I wasn't 100% in. You know what I mean? So the first thing that I did was I was intentional. I said, you know what? All of my any sexual gratification will come through my wife and my wife alone. And that was my first intention. And from that intention, God took me on a crazy journey. Where there was times when, like, I don't know, it was times when making that declaration in my life was hard. But God showed me that He was with me through it. And He had me do certain things to kind of like get myself free and completely available for my wife. And over time, I literally became completely free. Like, we're like, my wife is my only outlet for any sexual gratification, period. But it's changed our marriage. It's changed like our family dynamic. It's pretty much it's changed how God has related. Like, my relationship with God also changed. You know what I mean? Like, just my ability to hear Him, to follow Him, and all of that. So Clean was born out of that experience. Like, once I had that experience, I remember I went to visit a friend of mine in North Carolina. He was there for work, and I haven't seen him for years. And I went to see him, and I told him my experience. And then he did what I did. He said he tried it, and I was like, and then he got free. I was like, hold on, maybe there's something here. I thought it was just me. Maybe I just did a few different things. I got with God, and God But okay, but maybe there's something here that I don't understand. And because I'm academic, I created a curriculum based on my experience where I'm walking guys through what I did. So 3 years ago, we started out with 4 guys. Now we've had over 100 guys come through clean. I don't advertise clean. So all I do is I just tell guys, look, this is what I did. They come in, they do it. They're intentional, the guys. So again, like I tell like the analogy that I use is if, you know, some of you guys look like you're fit and in shape. So if you go in the gym, if I lift all the weights and you're with me in the gym, you don't get muscles, right? Like it doesn't work that way, right? So all I do is just show you how to use the weight. I show you, you know what I'm saying? And if you do it, it can work for you. So I have guys who have come in, they're intentional and it works. And what happens is after they do it, they invite their friend. And then their friend comes, and then and clean has continued to grow where like I have 4 to 5, so to speak, like generations, or 4 to 5 degrees of separation of men who have come through clean. Because once you come through, like, oh man, like this don't really work. Like let me tell my best friend about it, and then he comes, right? So without going into the detail of like what clean is, you know, just kind of like just telling you like more of the experience at this point. And we're starting our next run of clean April 30th. The group is only 5 weeks long. So it's a low risk group, right? I'm not asking you to come for the next 5 years to do this, right? Because my job, like what I tell guys, like my job is to present the tools to you. Everyone's hole is different, right? Like I don't know how deep your hole is. But what I do know is if I give you a shovel and show you how to use it, you can get out of that hole. Some guys, their hole is shallow. Some guys, their hole is deep. But if you're consistent and diligent with the shovel that I present to you, you'll get out of it. I can't promise you that in 5 weeks you're going to be free. But what I can tell you is that you'll be in the posture to hear from God in that area of your life. That's my job, to get you in that posture for God to move in your life in this way. And if you're able to defeat this 21st century giant, I think this is the 21st century. This is the giant that all men of the 21st century are facing. Your ability to defeat that giant, man, will change your entire life. Because there really isn't a giant. For Christian men, there really isn't a giant greater than this one. You know what I mean? Like once you defeat this one and understand how to do it, there really isn't many other things in the world that we live in right now where like you'll be worried about it. This is like David fighting Goliath. Once David fought Goliath and won, if you keep reading Samuel, he changed the entire culture of Israel. His defeat of Goliath allowed his nephews to defeat the giants in 2 Samuel. And then by the time they did that, the next generation, like you never hear about giants again in the Bible. Like giants are like a thing of the past. Giants probably still existed, but no one's worried about them. So for me in my life, you know, I defeated this giant in my life. And I pray because I have a son that he may face it, but he knows that his father already beat it. Right? So now the conversation with him is different. Because he'll still face it. The world is still the world. He'll still face it, but his ability to know, okay, my dad beat that giant. Not only did my dad beat it, now because of clean and the guys who have come through it, and we're fighting the same war, like a brotherhood has now been formed. So with that brotherhood, like now they know Uncle Mel beat it. Uncle Femi beat, like all these guys around me have also beat the giant, where like now you watch it, okay, well, this is not such a big deal. The culture is changing. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll kind of like take any questions. But so again, the group starts April 30th. It's 5 weeks long. We still have slots left for one of our sessions filled up yesterday, but we still have another session that runs on Sundays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So any of you guys are welcome to join us, but I'll leave it there for any questions.
Thank you, Donovan.
Yes, sir.
No, thank you, Donovan. That's really great. I guess one of the questions that I do have. This is a virtual session, right?
Yes,
okay, it's a virtual session,
right? and it's also Eastern time. So it's Eastern. Okay. Yeah. I know you guys in Texas. So.
Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, and you said it's a 5 weeks long course.
It's 5 weeks. Yep. It's 5 weeks.
Awesome.
So it'll run from April 30th through, I think, June 4th is the end of it. Mm-hmm.
How is the one question that I have is, based on your commitment and based on, the statement that you said as far as you made it an intention to, be clean, right? How has that affected the people you hang around with? And also the people that you see yourself surrounded with. So do you see it, as far as do you get this? I guess the question I'm asking is: has the Holy Spirit drawn men to you, as far as men that are unclean, and he's like preach to these people, or has it been like mostly just guys from the church? And then
honestly, I haven't met. I say that I was joking with your pastor, but I haven't met a Paul yet. So I've talked to like at least 100 men, right, who have come through, but I've talked to more than that. And I haven't met a guy who's not facing this. You either faced it and have gotten victory, you faced it and you faced it and you fail, you just justify it. Like, you know what, I'm gonna manage it. Right? But so with that said, every man that comes to me is facing it. Like I don't even walk into a conversation with a man thinking that he has victory here. Because the world we live in is so crazy. Like, how can these companies, how can a porn business be $1 billion business if nobody's dealing with this junk? That don't even make any sense. It's billions. And I've looked at like their financials, like they're kind of like what do you call it? Like they're like annual review like documents where like they'll tell you like their strategy to get men. Right? These guys, I mean, this is big business. So we're facing it. So to answer your question, everybody that comes to me is facing it. The question is like, are you willing to walk in the door to get free? So typically, like I typically do this one-on-one. So if I'm talking to you one-on-one, then we can be honest with each other. But now it's in a group. So everybody gonna have to kind of like hide behind, okay, well, I'm not gonna really say anything right here. But the reality is that I haven't met a man yet that's not facing it. Right? So, but are you like all the guys who are in the group with us? Like, yo, this is matter of fact. Like, it's not an issue if we're facing it. Not are we willing to get free here? Are you willing to do the things that I'm going to share with you to get free? Because if you get free, trust me, the conversation that you're having with God right now changes. God is speaking to you differently now. God's not going to spend time with you trying to get you to repent for sin. Now he's trying to use you to build the thing that he put in you. The thing that's like in your heart right now that torments you. There was a time in my life where like the purpose in my heart used to torment me because I'm like, man, like, how do I get this? I'm trying to figure out how to do this. But because I'm not following God can't give it to me. So it was kind of like Batman. Like I literally was like, I hated the thing in my heart that I wanted. Like, why are you like, it was so painful because I'm like, I can't have it. So why did you put it in my heart? But once I started to be obedient to God and get free, where again, this is getting free of sin, where you can like really like follow and be obedient, right? Once I did that, God is now, everything is moving now. All the things that I've wanted in my life are now coming, right? So for me, it's not an issue of who's coming. Like everybody that's coming is like, but the guys who come through it though, who are free, those are guys that now like we're running, like we're building things now. We're not just destroying. Now we're okay, well, what can we do? How can we continue to build this thing? So conversation changes. So I think, I don't walk into our conversations thinking that guys are already free. Now, I haven't met many. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it's zero, but the percentage is it's not many. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you. So, as for those who know me, and you guys know my struggle, I've been open about this. So, I personally, and I think, as far as me and being open about your struggles is the first thing, and also not only being open but also being intentional about finding recovery. So I also struggle with sexual purity and integrity also. So I'm not, and I'm probably not the only person that has faced this too.
Sure.
So I appreciate you for coming